programs and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. You're listening to the Samsel Report right here on Revolution Radio. We've been talking about the inauguration that's taken place. We're talking about the liberal left. We're talking about all these different things. We have a special guest with us. We have Roger Landry of the Liberty Beacon, and hopefully, we are you there, Roger?
Yes, I am.
There you are. There he is, Roger Landry of the Liberty Beacon. How are you, Roger?
I'm doing good. And you sound on form here.
Excuse me?
I said, you sound on form.
Oh, well, yeah, I just got over being sick. I had the flu, boy, I tell you what. I was sicker than a dog there for a while. But I'm back up and running now, so.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Why do people say sicker than a dog?
I don't know.
Dogs don't get sick very often.
They don't. If they do, they bleh, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
You know, but sicker than a cat, right? But
well, that just makes you a pussy.
Yeah. Oh, look out! This is a pink hat time.
Is it pink hat time?
Yeah. I guess they're still on the streets in D.C. I would imagine, you know.
Well, I got to tell you something. I'm 62 years old. All right, I was born in 1954, and this is even after, and obviously in my way younger years, I didn't have too much of a recollection or too much of an interest in politics, but I've been around for 15 election cycles.
Mm-hmm.
And this is by far the most unusual I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah. Everything about it. Everything about it is unusual.
Yeah, I'm sure, due to the invite, that you would like to tell me, you would like me to tell you some of the things that I find so unusual.
Oh, yes. I'm just in thrilled here. Go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. Let's start off with the fact that this is a country whereby for over 240 years, we have prided ourselves in the peaceful transfer of power.
Right.
Whereby you give the utmost respect, okay, to the outgoing president, who in turn gives the utmost respect to the incoming president.
Right.
Power is handed over in a structured and choreographed fashion.
Mm-hmm.
They do very, very little to tear each other apart. And once you leave the Oval Office, then you disappear off the scene for, I don't know, it's usually anywhere from 8 months to a year, sometimes 2 years before you hear their voice again.
Right.
Whether it's to praise or to, I don't know, chastise the actions of the currently sitting president. We've also seen whereby if we have a duly elected president, that the respect is given to the system, whether it's the popular vote, the electoral vote,
right,
or the process of counting the vote. Okay.
Right.
Again, we have seen an absolute departure we have a scenario by where immediately, as in the same day that the election was called, which was actually about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning by the time it was called.
Right.
Immediately, what you saw was a demonization of what then became the president-elect.
Mm-hmm.
Within 24 hours, you saw funded, and yes, I'm using that word with emphasis, funded riots
Right.
on the streets.
Right.
You saw people being beat up. You saw fires being started. You saw private property being destroyed.
Right.
And you saw, and I've searched for other ways to put this, but there are no other ways to put it. You saw liberal crybabies storming the streets, calling for open, violent
Right.
revolution. Whoa, hold on a minute.
Right.
I've seen 15 presidential election cycles.
Mm-hmm.
This is brand new. Then
Right.
the next phase, okay? You start to see a massive outcry, and you start to see one lie after another perpetrated over and over again,
Right.
all the way up to and including, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat, but I would dare anybody to Google this or to go to Twitter or wherever and start to count the number of blatant assassination threats
Oh yeah.
to an incoming or a president-elect. Okay?
Mhm.
I would dare the same people who are listening to go either to Facebook or to Twitter or wherever and count the number of calls for violent revolution.
Right.
Okay? What most people don't understand, and you've got to remember, this is a dumbed down society. I'm not saying Americans are stupid, because I don't believe they are, okay? I'm a very proud American. But we have been intentionally forced into the box of ignorance. And this is a choreographed scenario that we have been under fire with for, I would say, several generations. In 1983, William Casey, who was then the director of the CIA, is quoted as saying to the president, "We will know that our program of disinformation has succeeded when everything the American people believe is false." Now, for anybody who doesn't believe that America lives under the shadow of ignorance, there's your first clue.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if anybody doesn't believe that, then we must start looking at the lamestream media and, of course, the drumbeater for the lamestream media, which is the Clinton News Network,
Right.
CNN, and all of the lies and all of the cheating and all of the, subterfuge that they've been caught red-handed in.
Right.
So now, excuse me, we've got immediate riots in the streets. Now we've got calls for revolution. Now we've got calls for and blatant threats of assassination. How many of these people who did this? And you know what? I can honestly say there aren't enough Secret Service and FBI people out there to round up everybody who made a threat to assassinate the then qualified,
Right.
okay, president-elect. How many of these are aware that what they were doing was a capital crime? Okay? And what I do understand is that a lot of this will be gone over by the Secret Service and the CIA now that the election has been, all of this has passed.
Right.
And there may be some knocks on doors for a lot of people who felt that they basically got away with this.
Right.
So, and then we go from there to trying to delegitimize the election itself by Gloria Steinem, who was, of course, the presidential candidate for the Green Party. and who got so few votes that the only way anybody knew who she was because she stepped up on the stage and took over $9.5 million out of the pockets of Americans for recounts that they knew going in were illegal, illegitimate, and wouldn't hold up in court. And even if they did, and there were some crooked politicians in several of these states who did back them. Yeah. And what had happened was they found out in the long run, once the recounts were done in the areas they were done, that not only had there been no messing of the vote via Trump forces, but it ended up that Clinton actually got less votes and Trump actually got more. Oh. So we went through that phase. Then we went through the next phase.
Oh, the Russian thing, right.
Well, no, there's something even before that, okay?
We'll go.
There were, in 5 states, there were court challenges, to the election. 5 states. And they were thrown out of court in each and every one of these states.
There you go.
Then Hillary even tried to do something that most of you are not aware of. What she tried to do via a court case was to make it legitimate for electoral college representatives, or our electors, okay?
All right.
To vote their conscience instead of the will of the people.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay? Now, I need to explain something to everybody out there because most people haven't drawn this analogy or haven't drawn this parallel.
Right.
But it wasn't me, okay? I never take credit for what other people do. I do a massive amount of research. But basically what you have here is, well, let me give you a parallel. In Iran, they basically have a democratic election of their leaders. They do. Regardless of what the government wants you to believe about the evils of Iran, they do have a democratic election process all the way up to and until they reach the Council of Clerics. And I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but they are a council of Islamic clerics.
Right.
At which point they have the moral decision, by a majority of vote as to whether or not this candidate will truly serve the people.
Mm-hmm.
So what Hillary Clinton is trying to do in this court case, is basically give the power to the electors in this country.
Okay.
To make a moral decision after the people have voted to overrule the people by their moral judgment as to whether or not this individual is qualified to stand as president. This is Iranian Islamic law. All right? That obviously failed. And then, as you said, we start to roll in with the Russians.
Russians, right.
I published an article. The Liberty Beacon project has several ex-Intel, retired Intel individuals. One of them being Gregory Ford. Another one being Janice Kapinski, who is an ex-Army general. And if you listen to what both of these individuals say, and I also have contacts with other individuals who state that there was never, ever, ever a hack, for the information that's in contention. Was there a hack of the DNC server? Yeah, there was, Did it have to do with the information that was passed out that absolutely knocked Hillary to her knees? No. That was a leak by a disgruntled DNC employee.
Right.
Okay? And this guy's dead now. Okay? WikiLeaks has all but come out and admitted it. They can't flat out state this is who it was because, well, let's talk about fake news and real news.
Right?
I am not necessarily an individual who's going to tell you that WikiLeaks can be counted on for everything. that you should listen to everything WikiLeaks says and ignore your government or so on and so forth.
Right.
What I'm telling you is that you need to listen to both. But let's talk about credibility, okay?
Right.
We have proven over and over and over again in the last 18 months of the election cycle that the mainstream media, massive fake polling, okay?
Oh,
Oversampling, undersampling. What?
Right,
Tell me
right.
what you think about that. Go ahead.
It's terrible. I mean, everything was skewed to Hillary. All the polls, every poll that came out was
Absolutely.
you know,
And then you've got women who step forward to say Trump had molested them,
Right.
only to find out when the pressure has been put on that they find out that each and every one of these was a false case. But yet the media jumps on this immediately and starts to pass it around.
Yeah.
Golden showers in a hotel room in Russia, linked by the U.S., leaked by the U.S. and intel services. Okay, to the mainstream media, who immediately puts it out everywhere, although
Right.
even the Russians, nobody has anything to prove that this ever happened. There's nothing to base it on at all. So now we've got the mainstream media, which has the credibility. Well, actually, they have no credibility.
No.
It doesn't exist.
More. No.
Now let's slide across the aisle. Let's talk about WikiLeaks now. Okay, WikiLeaks has been putting information out for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
10 years. Now, we've heard the Democrats, the Clintons, we've heard Obama, we've heard the CIA, which is under Obama was extremely politicized, as well as the FBI, extremely politicized. And anybody who can't see that's just a blatant idiot. All right. And let's look at the content that WikiLeaks has been putting out for 10 years. I dare anybody listening to your show to come up with something WikiLeaks has put out that has been proven wrong.
Right.
Nothing in 10 years has been proven to be false information. Well, gee, this makes WikiLeaks an extremely reliable source of information, whereas the mainstream media has no credibility whatsoever.
Exactly.
But let's argue the point a little bit further, okay? Why so much, I don't know, rabble-rousing over what WikiLeaks put out? It was never was, that the information wasn't correct, because the DNC, the Clinton campaign, the White House, John Podesta, not once did anybody step up to say this information is false. What they did was they ramped up a massive campaign about Russian hacking.
Exactly.
And the devils, and they're trying to influence our election. Right. And Trump is illegitimate because the Russians are behind him and they are our enemy. Right. And okay, here comes Cold War round 2.
Right.
Okay, and I lived through that Cold War. Right. So now what we have here is a massive push against WikiLeaks, not because they're telling the truth, but to keep you from really paying attention to the truth they told.
Exactly.
Okay? It's called misdirection, redirection.
Right.
Let's shift everything away.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now you...
Right. Okay.
Then we go to the next step, okay? Because now what we're realizing is that nothing is going to keep Trump from basically getting elected. So we go to the second to the last, basically, scenario whereby there is a massive outpour from the idiots in Hollywood.
Oh, God.
That they're smarter than us. They make videos. They make TV commercials. They appear at these dinners and stuff, and these charity events. And what do?
Oh, look out!
They reach out to these electors, and they play on their humanity. Okay? Trump is Hitler. Trump is a misogynist. Trump is a racist. Trump is and there's more isms attached to Trump than you could possibly shake a stick at. Okay. And they literally tell Americans that they need to put pressure. Remember now, the vote has already happened. Okay.
Yes.
And these electors are on a predetermined path, although there are a few states where electors are not bound to vote by the popular vote within their state. So now we have the electoral count. All right.
Right.
After the electoral count and all of this bleeding heart liberal Hollywood crap,
Right.
we end up by seeing is that Trump lost 2 electors and Hillary lost 4.
4.
It was actually 4, okay?
Yeah.
But initially we were told 5. But whether it's 4 or 5, the point is it's more than twice, okay?
Right.
So again, we see a backfiring. Now, you would think that the liberals at this point would start to understand that America is dead set on what they want.
Exactly.
What do they want?
Right.
They want a totally different system. I'm going to be the first one to tell you that I don't believe anybody who makes it to the office of president of the United States is pure as the driven snow. They all have some skeletons in their closet. Otherwise, they would never get to that point. In the United States, since I was born and at an ever increasing rate, we have seen an increase in a scenario I call the lesser of two evils, whereby our presidential elections, and now that filters all the way down through our congressional elections, all the way down to our local, state and local elections, we don't have somebody who's as pure as the driven snow. We don't have anybody who is there for all of the right reasons. We have the lesser of two evils. I believe that Trump is the lesser of two evils. Yes, I do. Do I believe that he is misogynistic? Do I believe that he is sexist? Do I believe that he is a racist? Do I believe that he is Hitlerian? Do I believe? No, I don't believe any of these things. Do I believe that he is influenced from above? You'd be stupid not to. For most people who don't know this, he's declared bankrupt several times. That's not a big deal. I'm not holding that against him. Anybody who can declare bankruptcy 4 times and still maintain an empire that's worth billions is doing something right. What most people aren't aware of is one of the families that bailed him out during one of his bankruptcies were, in fact, well, what's the biggest family? What's the biggest family we associate with the elites?
Oh, I don't know. Rockefellers?
How about the Rothschilds?
Rothschilds. That was going to be number 2. Yeah, Rothschilds.
Rothschilds literally own the world. They own people like the Rockefellers.
Oh, yeah.
They own people that fall like the Soros, okay? When you talk about Soros, you talk about somebody that's worth 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 15, 20 billion dollars, okay?
Right.
When you talk about the Rothschilds, you're talking about a family that over the last several centuries has put together a net family worth that some estimate may be in the $100 trillion range.
Yeah, that much. I mean,
that's their control. Okay. Whether it's actually their money, it's money they physically control. Okay. So they can ruin or they can build states overnight. And Soros is their trigger man for that. So now we go through this scenario. And what's the last scenario we're looking at? What's the last scenario? Got any guesses on the last one?
You got me.
Well, if you stop to consider, I would say that it's probably the worst of all of them. And we have had an outgoing CIA director. We have Mr. Schumer, who is, huge in Congress.
Right.
We have several other people who have basically told Trump that he has to watch his back. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Have threats
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
against
Yeah.
the incoming president, against the president-elect, even after we have settled the the count from the Electoral College. All right, so we know this guy's going to be president. Can he live to make it to being president?
Right.
All right, so now we see an up-ramping of death and assassination threats against Trump and Trump supporters. I wrote several articles over the last couple of days. They're posted on the Liberty Beacon, whereby I have videos. One, a Mexican, this guy can't be more than 20, 22, 23 years old, who is pleading to all of the illegals in this country, and I'm especially talking about the illegal Mexicans at this point.
Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
To go out and do what they can to assassinate Trump or to kill as many Trump supporters as possible.
Right.
Okay? We have literally on Twitter and literally on Facebook, we have video after video and tweet after tweet of people saying they don't care what happens to them. They're going to find a way to kill.
Oh yeah, I've seen those videos. You know, you got some black kid up there with the dreadlocks, you know, and he's toting a gun, pointing a gun.
Black Lives Matter.
You know, Black Lives Matter. Oh, we're gonna kill you, whiteys. We're coming after you, whiteys. You know, mothers. You know, and I have seen. There have been several of them that the police have.
Yes, there have been, and I would say I've heard tell of at least 10. Okay, going to tell you there are 10,000.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know, these people are not just going to pack up their stuff and go home after this inauguration. They're going to keep this up. I mean, the people that Trump sorely needs to go after is Soros.
Okay, so now you just brought up the magic name.
Number one, public enemy number one.
But why? Let's get into that a little bit deeper. And you've known me for a long time, okay? You know I'm a walking encyclopedia. And when I state things, I never challenge people to prove me wrong. I dare you to prove me wrong. If I'm telling you something with emphasis, it's because I've done my homework, okay?
Right.
Soros is one of the major funders through his organizations of Black Lives Matter.
Right.
I'm not telling you that Black lives don't matter. They do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling you that blacks, especially in the inner cities, haven't been given a raw deal. They have. But they've been given a raw deal by the Democratic Party over and over and over and over again, who continues to snow them for their vote.
Right. Right.
Okay? I want somebody to prove to me. I want somebody to show me proof that Trump is racist beyond what their own first black president in U.S. history was. Because I can show you over and over and over again the failure, the absolute insane failure of Obama policy to help anybody in these inner cities.
Oh, no.
Trump ran on a platform, okay,
right,
of reviving.
Right. He's going to give these people jobs. He wants.
He's a racist.
You're doing it.
He's a racist.
But they don't want the jobs, I guess. You know, that's no good. He's a Nazi. We don't want to work for a Nazi, right?
Yeah. But let's take it a little bit further. Let's talk about what Soros is actually doing. And of course, you've got the Project Veritas videos,
right,
which absolutely prove that these people, not only that, but they were putting together, he's got videos of them planning violence, which actually happened at the inauguration within Washington, D.C. Luckily, none of that got into the inner sanctum, okay?
Right.
But that didn't mean it didn't happen throughout the streets, because people were hurt. You know, we've seen, you and I, and most people out there have seen videos where African Americans have dragged white people from their cars and beat them senseless because they voted for Trump.
Right. Right.
Where a autistic, mentally handicapped young man was kidnapped for several days, tortured because he voted for Trump.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And but yet, everybody who supports Trump, we're all racist. Okay, where's this coming from? Those aren't Trump supporters doing this. They're obviously not Trump supporters.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So where's the money for this coming from? We mentioned Soros.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's talk about ads that went out all across the United States.
Right.
And anybody who thinks that I'm lying,
Right.
I've got actual, screenshots of the ads and articles that we published on the Liberty Beacon offering you. Now remember, the average person in this country today, middle class or lower, right below middle class, which is where most Americans sit today, the biggest portion of the population.
Right.
They're living from hand to mouth.
Right.
They don't have $100 in their checking account at the end of each week, and some of them don't even have that. All right.
Right.
So they're being offered $2,500 a month stipend.
Right.
A $2,500 a month stipend.
Right.
Okay. Which means you're going to get paid that every single month.
Right.
Now, if there's going to be some sort of a function within your area.
Right.
If it's a riot or a protest or whatever, you're going to be paid an additional $50 an hour
to
go in and react with whoever's in that protest. Now, what are you going to be requested to do? You're going to be requested to commit violent acts.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay? You're going to be requested to commit violent acts. Now, I said immediately following the election, the riots hit the streets.
Right.
There was already news out that Soros, through some of his organizations, was funding these people with $1,500 a piece to go out and do these things, but they had to commit violence. And anybody who says that's a bunch of crap, again, we fall back to the Project Veritas videos where they blatantly tell you they are there to precipitate violence.
Exactly.
So here we go. People say, Roger, you started this whole ball rolling with, I've been around for 15 election cycles, and I've never seen anything like this. We have seen the absolute bastardization of the democratic process in America. Okay, I think my last article I wrote was liberals. I think the ultimate liberals, the ultimate destruction of the democratic process in America. So, and people say, well, that's a little harsh, Roger, don't you think? All right, which point that I just gave is not true? Which point that I just gave is unbelievable? Which point that I just gave, okay, do you wish to challenge me on? Now, I'm talking about 6 steps so far that were a massive backlash by a liberal group, okay, of citizens within this country because they didn't like the way the election turned out. Pull up your big boy pants. Let me explain something to you. You live in the United States of America. We are ruled via a democratic process, okay? And then all of you butthurt people that are constantly saying Hillary won the popular vote. Again, you were lied to. Hillary did not win the popular vote. That's just what you were told. We know for a fact because, President Obama made this happen several days before the election. And again, I wrote an article on this. He went on national TV and told every illegal in this country because host specifically asked him this. He said, nobody's going to come after you if you go to the poll and vote. That's personal. That's between you and you. Nobody's going to check up on that. So basically what he told, you know how many illegals there are in this country that may be of voting age? We're looking at between 15 and 20 million individuals in this country that may be of voting age, with a vast majority of them being around the Clinton strongholds. that she won, like New York City, like Los Angeles, like San Francisco, like Seattle.
Yep.
Okay? So what we're looking at here is a massive influx. She only won, supposedly, by 2.4 million popular votes. She won the popular vote, supposedly. If you take all of the keyed up by the POTUS himself, saying it's okay for you to do this.
Right.
If you take the possible amount, I guarantee you it's well over 2.5 million. We had several recounts in a couple of counties before they were stopped. Okay.
Right.
And this was in Pennsylvania. And what did they find out? They found out that, hey, Hillary didn't get that many votes. That's where the cheating was. Those votes actually went to Donald Trump. Now, let's take this on a nationwide scope. I can extrapolate just from what we saw in Pennsylvania and Michigan. I can extrapolate that Donald Trump probably won the popular vote by 5 million people or more.
Right.
But it'll never be challenged. It doesn't have to be challenged. Why? Because Donald Trump is not an idiot. Is he a clown? Yes. He is a clown, but that's part of his persona.
Right.
Is he an idiot? No. He said, look, I don't need to win New York City. I don't need to win Los Angeles. I don't need to win San Francisco. What I got to win is the heartland of the U.S. because once I get 270 electoral votes, nothing else matters.
Right. Right.
And that's exactly what he focused on.
And that's what that's where his support comes from. It comes from the American people, comes from middle America, right?
Rust Belt. Yes.
Right.
I know. I grew up in Ohio. You can't get more rusty than Ohio. Okay? The town I grew up in, Lorain, Ohio, has the largest steel mill on the planet.
Whoa.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That thing shut down. What do you think it did to a town of a city of 80,000 people?
Wipe them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so what we're looking at here, okay, is a massive movement away from the voice of the people, a massive movement via a huge programmed ignorance onslaught.
Exactly.
Anybody who doesn't believe that you are ignorant. I'm not calling you stupid. You're not. Right. I'm calling you ignorant. Stupidity is having the information and choosing to do nothing with it. Ignorance is not having the information, so you don't know what to do.
Right. Well, most of these people don't think at all. Most of these people are like zombies. You know, most.
You want me to tell you why?
Can't give you an argument. All they can do is F this, F that, F that, F this.
Want me to tell you why?
What?
You're going to get sick of saying yeah, okay? Listen, I'm going to tell you why, all right?
Okay.
I've written articles that cover, I've written over 1,000 articles, okay? I've published almost 10,000 articles, but I've written over 1,000 myself. All right, the United States, when I was born in 1954, was the healthiest and most vibrant society on the planet with the highest galactic records damn near equal to or higher than any other nation on the planet. Mm-hmm. Today, our scholastic scores are in the basement of the free or the first world or the industrialized world. Yeah. We are the sickest. Listen to me, because this is where you're going to want to challenge me and you're going to come up red-faced. The United States is the sickest country on the planet today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a racket. It's a racket. Okay.
We spend 10 times more than our closest rival on healthcare. Right. Obamacare. Bye-bye. We spend 10 times more, and yet we're the sickest nation. Okay. Now, let's figure out why are we this. Why can I say we're the sickest nation? Okay. We also have the highest level. We boast the highest level of medical technology, but we're the sickest nation. Right. Here we go. We're number one on the planet in Alzheimer's. I dare you to check this, people.
Oh.
Number one on the planet in dementia. Number one on the planet in ADHD. Number one on the planet in autism. Number one on the planet in diabetes, emphasis on childhood diabetes. Number one on the planet in autoimmune dysfunctions. The fastest rising infertility rate on the planet.
Right.
Number one in food allergies, which everybody listens to. Oh, that's not much. Yes, it is. It's deadly. Okay? And I could go on. This is the sickest nation. Now, why? Why are we the sickest nation? You just talked about dumb down. Most people, all they can do is say F you this and F you that, but they've got no real argument. Let me tell you why. And I'll also, at the same time, explain to you why we're the sickest nation on the planet, okay?
Go.
We are the most exposed to geoengineering fallout, which is massive amounts of nano-sized particles of aluminum, which are extremely deadly.
Right.
Deadly,
right?
Okay, to the human physiology, especially the brain and central nervous system.
Right.
Okay, so we're constantly being sprayed, and a vast majority of that is nano-sized particles of aluminum, which you breathe in on almost a daily basis. So, the most exposed to geoengineering, the most exposed to GMOs, the most vaccinated. Okay.
Yeah.
The most exposed to biotoxins such as Roundup, which is a known class 2 carcinogen.
All over the place. Yeah.
The most exposed to environmental toxins.
Right.
And, okay, we are the most drugged society on the planet. Now, I need to expound on this just a little bit more, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Over 120 million people in this country are on mind-altering drugs, either psychotropic or psychiatric drugs. This isn't a guess. This is a fact, okay? There's only 320.
Go.
What?
Half the population.
Oh, no, a little over a third, okay? Yeah. But I'm not done yet, okay?
No.
So we've got 320 million people in this country, 127 or 129, depending on where you look, million of them are on. Of course, there are a lot more on damaging drugs. I'm talking strictly psychotropic or psychiatric drugs, mind-altering drugs.
Right.
Okay. With our children, over 20%, soon to be 25% of our children are on the same drugs, and they get slapped on them just for having a bad day in school. And if you tell the doctor that you're not going to let your children be put on the drugs, DCF comes and takes your children away. You think I'm kidding? I can throw 100 cases in your face to prove that. Okay, so now you're walking in a crowd of about 60 people.
Mm-hmm.
The next time you're walking in a crowd of about 60 people, this is what should be going through your mind. 20 of these people are on a different planet. They're in freaking La La Land.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
20 of them.
Yeah.
So now, when I tell you we're the sickest and the most chronically ill society on the planet, when I tell you we're the most dumbed down on the planet, and then I tell you we're the most drugged, we're the most exposed to vaccines, we're the most exposed to GMOs, we're the most exposed to biotoxins, we're the most exposed to environmental toxins, we're the most exposed to, and I could go on, more than any nation on the planet by a huge margin.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Now, when you tell me most people can't give you a decent answer, all they can do is throw explanatives at you. Now you understand why. This is all part of the scenario. Right. The scenario, look, you don't go into a war with a pistol. You go into a war with a pistol, a machine gun, a tank, a half-track, a battleship, an aircraft carrier, a bomber, right. Rockets. You go in with multiple weapons. So all of these things I told you we have the highest exposure to, the vaccines, the drugs, the whole 9 yards. Each one of those is a weapon.
Oh, yeah.
But also there's two more weapons. There's the mainstream media, and I quoted Casey, the CIA director, about we'll know when everything we believe is false, they've succeeded. But what is the biggest? Okay, what stands shoulder to shoulder, I should say, with the media in making this country as ignorant, not stupid, as ignorant as it is today? We're not only the most unhealthy country on the planet, we're the most ignorant.
Right.
Okay, but the other...
Education system.
Education. Common Core.
Right.
Why the hell do I want to put my extremely bright child into a Common Core school where, because he stands out, he's he's going to get a ribbon for being the smartest kid in the class. But the kid who doesn't do anything, doesn't try, doesn't put forth any effort, is going to get a ribbon too, so that he doesn't feel left out. In other words, everybody's common.
Right.
Where is the drive for me to be any better if I realize that I can get just as far by doing a hell of a lot less? When you instill this in a generation of children, they grow up believing this. Look at the frickin' millennials.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the basement dwellers. I hate that term, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they that way? Because they were brought up in an era of Common Core where everybody is common, and this was done intentionally.
Right.
So now you understand why someone like Soros can come in with the promise of over $3,000 a month, $50 an hour for being in the riots or whatever, plus a stipend of $2,500 a month. They might be getting $3,500. They might be getting $4,000 a month. Yeah. The average per kid today to make $4,000 a month, which is over $50,000 a year, and is much more than the average family income is today. Okay, that makes them basically rich. Mm-hmm. That is so absolutely attractive to them. But now
they're doing it for the money. I mean, they have political.
Not just the money. I agree with you that a lot of them are doing it for the money, but they've already been swayed because school taught them that the liberal way is the only way. Okay, political correct. You go to college today. You can't say anything. You can't look. If you go to a Catholic school right now, there are bills in front of Congress to take the crucifix out of the classroom.
Right.
You freaking idiot! You're going to a Catholic school. Right. Didn't you know that when you walked through the
door? That's right.
Okay, so what we're looking at is a system that has taught our children, what we call the millennials today, because those are the ones that are in their early 20s to late 20s, early 30s. These I call them children because I'm twice their age, okay?
Right.
These kids were brought up to believe that if they cry and they pout and they say it isn't fair to the majority of us, it doesn't matter whether it's constitutional. It doesn't matter if that is your religion. It doesn't matter if, look, I'm going to tell you something. I bring my granddaughter to a porta potty or to a public bathroom, and some big burly hairy guy wearing a skirt walks out. I ain't letting my granddaughter into that damn bathroom.
There you go.
It isn't going to happen.
No.
Okay? But that makes me a criminal now. If I a bakery and I don't want, because I'm deeply Roman Catholic, and again, we have freedom of religion in this country. I don't want to bake a cake, and believe me, I have no problem with gay people. I really, really don't. But this is what I do have a problem with. I don't want to bake a cake because of my religious beliefs for this individual. Now, I can get slapped with up to a $250,000 fine for a $250 wedding cake.
There you go.
Are you freaking kidding me? This is what they grew up in.
That's politically correct.
Politically correct.
Right.
So what happened to the Constitution? Forget about it. What happened to the Bill of Rights? Forget about it. What happened to fair and equal? Forget about it. What happened to common law? Forget about it.
Everything goes. Nothing is taboo anymore. Everything goes. Everything is acceptable.
The only thing that matters right now, okay, and I'm sure you heard about on these universities. Now, you got to remember, these are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids,
right,
okay?
Right.
I got a puppy room. I got a Play-Doh room. I got a room where I can go and have no stress. I got a room where you can't make me cry.
Yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me? Are you really? And then you say to me that these kids, it's just the money. No, it's not just the money. Does the money trigger them? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
It goes right along with everything else in their lives. And I've got to tell you who's at fault for this.
Mom and
I need it's us.
yeah.
It is the parents,
Yeah.
because we have said, look, you're 18 years old, you're your own person, you could stay in my freaking basement, but don't bother me, blah, blah, so on and so forth. I wash my hands of you, I raised you, forget about it, okay? The thing of it is, had we spent, and me, a baby boomer, what did we raise? We raised children in the era of consumption.
Right.
Every toy they wanted, they got.
Mhm.
Okay? Everything they wanted to do, we spoiled them rotten. We went into debt. You know, there are more parents out there who owe massive college debt than there are. And I shouldn't say more. It's probably close to parity right now. Parents who took on the debt of their children's schooling, okay? Either to get them out of the house or, in fact, to hope that they would do something with their life, okay?
Into little leftist gorillas, right? Yeah.
And these are the kids living in their basement right now with the 4-year college degrees. And now the parents have a $150,000, $180,000 debt that they can't pay because they're retiring. They're going to be on Social Security, so on and so forth. So they're going to lose their house. They're going to lose anybody that thinks I'm overstating this. There's another article about that on the Liberty Beacon. How many parents out there are going to lose their homes, are going to be kicked out into the street, are going to have their wages, if they have any, attacked?
Uh-oh. You know what that means? Roger.
For an hour.
We ran out of time, buddy.
I warned you. You invited me on.
Thank you for being on. God bless you. We'll have you on again.
Oh, you're a great person, my friend, and it's always my pleasure.
Bye-bye now. Next week.